All righty. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Happy Friday. Hope you all are doing well. Welcome to MVP Office Hours. There's Joy. I am Dale Ziegler. Along with me, as usual, is Squire Kirshner, and we got Joy Shutters-Helbing coming in the room here, and we're getting her set up. Normally, we meet on the first and third Fridays of the month, but as we all know, our last few months have been a little bit squirrely just due to holidays and release readiness and all the good things. But I think October we'll be back on that track. Here are our Twitter handles where you can follow us, as well as the MVP Office Hours Twitter handle. We are working through some issues with the website mvpofficehours.info. We're working on getting that back, but you can also reach us at email. But if you send us an email here, you're going to get an out of office reply that says, hey, go to the community so that everyone can jump in. So the MVP Office Hours community is there for anybody who is a member of the group to ask a question, like Mary Lynn did, and anyone can help answer in between the calls. So definitely check out that group as well. As I mentioned, we are still a little bit off our normal schedule. Our next call will be September 9th, and I think that will be our only September call, because then Dreamforce will be after that, and we'll be back on track in October. But the next call is 2 weeks from today. This is meant to be an open Q&A. You don't have to be an MVP to answer the question. Sometimes we have MVPs asking the questions. If you want to contribute, unmute and speak up. We want to hear from everybody. Registration is behind this static bit.ly, and you can catch past recordings on the community, on Twitter, and on YouTube. And if you're going to post about us, just use any of our favorite hashtags. Welcome to everyone, current and future MVPs, because y'all are MVPs. We do want everyone to participate. Just share your thoughts, share your recommendations. You can share links in the chat, which we will then load into the deck and share afterwards. If you have a question, feel free to either put it in the chat window or use the hand raise reaction, and we'll get to you. We stick to a first in, first out on a question asking basis, but flows through pretty well. And you can share your screen, but because we are recording, please do not share your production environment. Show us a dev org or sandbox or share links, whatever, but we will be recording and posting to our YouTube channel. And the last thing we want is your company's or your client's actual data to be recorded in perpetuity. And also, because we're recording, if you are not comfortable or allowed to be recorded, please jump off. You can catch the recording later. We will also share the deck with all of our links and all the good things this evening, this weekend. Community events, they are coming back in full force. So I don't think any of them are virtual anymore. I think they're all intended to be in person, which is a great feat. Mile High Dreamin' is in a few days in Denver. North Africa Dreamin' in Morocco in October, and a week later, Florida Dreamin'. And then, of course, the big one, Dreamforce. It won't be as big as it's been in the past, limiting it to 30,000, but that's still a good chunk of people. The band that was announced was the Chili Peppers, which they always put on a good show. So if you have the opportunity to go, have fun, enjoy it, soak it all in, meet up with each other. And then at a local level, join a local group if you haven't already. I think most of them are getting back to in person. Some are still virtual, but go find that local group and connect with others in your area, and keep the help and the problem solving localized and branch it on out. Yeah. Squire, Joy, did I miss anything before we jump into the questions?
No, you did a great job.
All right. So we did have a question in the success group from Mary Lynn about a HubSpot integration for an existing contact. Do we have Mary Lynn on the call?
I didn't see her.
That's okay. If an existing customer comes to our website and fills out a form, it is creating a completed task, but we'd rather create a new lead that can then be merged into the existing contact once the salesperson has worked this new lead from the existing contact.
So
So take it away, anybody.
I have very limited exposure to how this actually worked, but I feel like HubSpot can control a lot of how that comes into Salesforce. Because the existing customer would likely be a record in HubSpot. And there's like duplicate rules in HubSpot, and someone else can stop me anytime, I believe. But there's a HubSpot mechanism that can handle that. Because I don't know, because it's almost like they don't want to like go straight to the existing contact, right? Which is a little bit
Weird.
Not quite the out of the box Salesforce way.
Yeah, I mean, because I think what you were just saying, like if the contact's already in, then are you creating a lead for an existing account? Like that's kind of a weird flow, but I feel like you're right that there's, at the bare minimum, there should be an indicator on the task that's being created that could trigger some sort of flow after the fact.
Right.
But it feels like there's a better way to do it.
I'm sure there's a lot of reasons why Mary Lynn has asked to do this. However, one of the things might be an event registration. It might be like who knows what it is, or white paper sort of things. I don't know, but I think I believe very strongly that there is a HubSpot mechanism that can handle this, and she needs to look at the workflows that I think HubSpot calls them workflows. Anyone else remember what they're called? It's been a minute since I was in HubSpot. That's all I got. Also, hi everybody.
I assume the everybody being on mute means there's not a lot of HubSpot users on the call today. So if you do know someone that knows it though, and you could direct them to Marilyn's question on the success, I'm sure she'd take the help. So
I would be shocked if there isn't a HubSpot group within the community itself. So
Oh no, I know someone. I just need to direct her to this and see if she can noodle on it a minute. Because so many like HubSpot instances are so heavily customized. So
I am shocked.
what? Did you spell that right?
Via space? I don't know.
That's
No,
crazy.
I probably didn't. Um,
I'm still
That's
shocked.
crazy. Well, it's also a competing product, so maybe.
Yeah, true.
Maybe, but oh, Marilyn, thank you for this one. Interesting. Do we have anything else lined up today?
nothing in the queue, nothing on success, nothing in email. So it could just be the 12 of us staring at each other and telling funny jokes.
Well, that sounds fantastic. Let's do that.
Well, I learned something today.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So I'm working on moving my flows from my processes into flows. So like that's the beginning point of where I'm at with my flow knowledge. And there was an email alert, and I wanted to switch out my email alert in the action element, but you can't do that. Apparently, when you have an established action element, you can't go in there and switch out your email alert. You have to create a new action and put in the email alert and then delete your old email alert action.
That
I know, right? Or
How
I'm
did
just that new and I'm getting it wrong. But I did ask elsewhere and I was told that could be right.
How did you
So-
discover the error? Was it like not available for you to add in the flow, or just nothing happened?
Yeah, no, I just put in the wrong alert. I got this poor naming conventions when I set up the alert, so I got them confused with another one. So I went into the element to switch it out, and you hit the edit button and you can rename the element, or you can change where I have it tied to the record ID, but you can change it to whatever it's tied to, but you can't change the actual email alert.
I'm I'm guessing you're rebuilding them from scratch. I don't know if is in the new version, the latest version, is that the wizard or the tool, for lack of a better name, available for converting yet?
If it is, I wouldn't use it. I'm
Yeah.
not going to
No.
learn that way.
Well, sure. I'm just wondering what will happen when a large majority of people do that too. But that's how I'm kind of reverse engineering my process, at least.
Yeah, I don't think there's a roadmap for the process to flow converter like there was workflow to flow. But I also think it's probably because of what we just described. There's probably some significant complexity to make just flip a switch. But
Yeah, it makes sense.
Kitty, I'm wondering if you could use a subflow so you wouldn't have to keep recreating the email action and connect that to your flow, like every time you need it, connect it as a subflow.
It was more of just a quick edit on my flow that I needed to do. It's just, I was like, that was unusual because you know how many times do you go back to your elements and make an adjustment here or there? You can't do it with the action element, at least for email alerts. I'm not sure about the other actions involved.
Which I want, and maybe somebody's already said this, is that a problem with the action, not the automation?
Well, there are other things that you can't go back and change. If you went and got a single record and now you want all of them, it's grayed out. It doesn't let you change that.
Right, but if we're just swapping out an email alert for an email alert, theoretically, like, still be covering all the same bases, but
my 2 cents worth here. I've seen when I do the flow, I can call an action, and from within flow, I can call an email alert. So it kind of categorizes it different. I don't know if that has anything to do with it, but I can add in an action, and in action 1 is an email alert. Or I can call an existing action. So it seems like flow wants to do something different for email alerts.
Well, I, for one, made a note that I want to learn more about what you just brought up. So
Let me know if I'm wrong. I just didn't know if that was one of those, am I too green to know that I'm doing it wrong? Or did I find something that is unusual?
I assume you're right, and I just want to know more about maybe even the why. It'd be a great ask me anything type question for the next time there's a flow topic. And fortunately, we know some really smart flow people that we can throw these things at too. So Michelle owes me. Maybe she knows.
Anything else? Everyone has been successful in everything they attempted this week. This is amazing.
But I also have something else I learned. If nobody else is going to talk, I can rattle on all day with
yeah,
stuff.
bring it.
Okay, so we have a contact lookup field on our opportunities page because nobody knew how to use contact roles, and they're like, I just want it on my page and I don't want to go to the related sections and then add it and go back. So I was like, fine, we'll just put the lookup field on there. And then they're like, oh, could they attach any contact, no lookup filters? And I said, yes, that's how it is now. And they're like, well, maybe we want it just to be a certain way. And then we want you to put it on the page layout. And I may get my terminology wrong here, but on an action button. So for the list view, if you customize an action button and you put the contact field on that button, it won't work with a filter attached to it, which makes sense because there's no source record, but because you're selecting maybe three opportunities to update and attach a specific contact, but with that filter, it doesn't know to look back to, let's say, the account filter that's tied to it. So
And I'm
something
sorry,
else
are you doing that from a list view, are you saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the filter, the lookup filter blocks the action, if that makes sense.
Well, that's just running into hurdles that you don't need, isn't it?
So can I ask what the I mean, I get what you're trying to do here and the workaround makes sense. What's the objection to opportunity contact roles? It's too many clicks away.
Yeah, they just want it on the page right there as they fill everything out.
isn't primary contact available? Like, like the whole lead conversion to opportunity, that primary contact role, is that already like, am I imagining that? Am I remembering that wrong?
I don't know, but we don't convert our leads to opportunities, just accounts.
I think there will be primary campaign, which makes a lot of sense, like why we get confused like that. I think primary campaign will come as part of the conversion, not the primary contact, but I think it will be added as part of the opportunity contacts. Yes. Contact roles, under opportunity contact roles.
Right, I'm trying to, Dale, I love that you have, like, you're always like at the ready with the sandbox for me. But if you go to an opportunity, the opportunity stuff, whatever, whichever you want to do this. And if you have a contact role and you've selected the primary, like, I feel like there was a mechanism that like dropped that name into the primary contact field on the opportunity. And I could totally be making this up and misremembering all sorts of things. So, yeah.
Well, we found that our sales folks were closing opportunities without even talking to the customer. So we set up like this dependent field that says if it's closed won or closed lost for any reason, they have to say, did you speak to the member? Yes or no? And then I got a validation rule that if they say yes, they have to put a person in there. So it's like, if they just did their job, we wouldn't need to do all this, but you know, I don't know.
I am making this up.
Salespeople.
No, this thing, I'm making it up.
I think there's a primary contact field in the account record. Because we use it at our organization, primary
So,
contact.
but
And
for
the-
the opportunity, Bobby may be onto something here that it's an NPSP field.
I've never worked in NPSP, so it wouldn't have been.
Right.
What's NPS?
Nonprofit success
Oh.
package thing.
But I wonder if like it's like dependent on contact, on opportunity contact roles being used, or I don't know. Like I feel like I'm imagining this thing. I don't know. But I said that when I started that I'm not sure I was remembering it correctly, and it is not where I'm expecting it to be. So maybe that was a custom field that one of my former orgs had.
Yeah, I mean, you've only supported like 15 unique orgs, so I'm sure it's starting to blend together.
Funny, you're funny.
Yeah.
You're right.
And Katie, going back to the original comment, everything you said is accurate because a filter doesn't even work on a page layout unless the field is on the layout. So it would make sense that it also doesn't work from the list view. So.
Woohoo. I'm
Learning
not
while
just
learning.
throwing random information out there that may not be true.
That's okay. Like,
Where? Oh, yeah. please.
So there is a primary contact field that is on the opportunity that comes as part of the NPSP package.
interesting.
Hmm.
Literally never worked with NPSP. I wonder if someone built that out, having been exposed to it previously.
No, I think you're right. I think it does work with the contact role when you select them as the primary contact in the contact role. I think maybe in reporting it selects them, or when you run a report, maybe it selects them as the primary contact of the opportunity. I've seen that as well.
I'm questioning my sanity right now, so y'all just keep going.
I mean, yeah, going back a few comments, it would make sense that it's NPSP because I mean, here's lead mapping fields and there's nothing resembling a primary contact on the opportunity object. But role object to role object could be something.
Well, we all know how many magic things happen between the opportunity, like sub objects and the roll ups, you know, everything from probability changes to the stage changes and everything else. So that it doesn't surprise me that that's maybe something else that's happening too. So from the
An
reporting.
NPSP has all sorts of magic going on,
Yeah.
all sorts of roll-ups and customizations that work along that. So
All right. Should we jump over to Daniel?
Mhm.
All right.
Hi, guys. So these changes that were made, these updates for aura-enabled Apex methods, it was in 20 and then 21, these updates came in, and I guess I don't understand enough how dangerous and what is that shutting off, and what I don't want to wrap myself out, but we may be ignoring those. How much danger is my org in for, and how much security did that initiate? What was that fix for?
Oh, so that one's quite a while ago. Have to do a little bit of digging.
So we have a lot of old code, right? And
Yeah.
and the update broke all the code. So then the solution was a permission set that doesn't listen to their update.
I'm going to assume, and which is never a good idea, but
Yeah.
that a lot of this had to do with the changes to the locker service and the lightning. What is that setting? Locker service, and then the secondary like cross-site changes, because the last couple of years has been a lot of enhancements to that security modeling to make sure that nobody like accidentally cracks open the door to lightning components. I'm gonna go dig back and try to find the reference to that while we talk, rather than guess. But I think that's where it originates, and it should have a pretty good summary of the risk as well, or at least direct us. So I'm gonna do a little dig while we're here and see what I can come up with.
Just when Aura components first came out, they did not require Apex access like Visual Force pages did. And so I think a lot of developers built Lightning components and they did not bother to put them in permission sets. And with this release, it's basically functioning like Visual Force pages do, where you can no longer access the methods in an Apex class unless you've been granted that permission, like you would with a Visual Force page.
That makes sense. And so the second part is how dangerous is it that we don't
if you have a Lightning component that's calling an Apex class, and if that user is not granted that permission to that Apex class, they will no longer be able to use that Lightning component.
Mm-hmm.
So there's not, are you saying there's no risk? It's more, it's preventing access, not leaving the door open?
Yeah, you're gonna, if you have currently access and that was just never configured, it sounds like you put it in a permission set. You gave access to those Apex classes. And so yes, you should not see anything happen once you either enable this or if this was enabled in your org. So it would have functioned just like a Visual Force page that you tried to click on. It would have said you don't have access to this Apex class controller.
Okay, that makes sense. So essentially this permission set is giving you all the permissions that you need for all of these Apex classes is what it's assigning. Yes. Like I'm not a developer. I don't know exactly, and I did not make the permission set. So it's rather than putting it into the code, we're putting it into the permission set and assigning it to everybody.
Yeah, it's just in general now in the future, all Apex class that is called, you always have to have permission to access it through a permission set or through a profile. And before, for some reason, they left that out when Aura components first came out.
Okay.
Well, and you couldn't even actually grant Apex specifically as a permission set setting for a while there, or not the Apex, because like you could grant, you could control the Visual Force page access, but not the actual class access for a while there. So it's probably connected to that.
Yeah, Visual Force has its own set of permissions to get access to the page, or Aura components don't have that for sure. It's only if your Aura component calls an Apex class, you need to grant permission to that Apex.
Right.
That is calling.
Thank you,
Okay.
Bobby.
Yeah, thank you. That explains it. And it's not a security risk like I was worried about. I have no idea why this is on here. And are we neglecting something?
Yeah, and I was trying to go back through my it's not critical updates anymore, it's whatever that setting is in your in setup, but I was trying to find that node as well. There was a pretty good write-up there as well. So
Copy. I'll check that out.
okay. Everyone does go through the critical update list and test everything and read up on them every release, right? We all nod and say that we do that. Joy, you look a little nervous, like you got your hand in the cookie jar.
Oh no, like every release, every word. Do you know how many pages those are? Like, do you know?
I'm not even saying that. Like, if you just go into your own org and you go to, what is it? It's in the top left when you don't have a filter on. It's not critical updates anymore. It's important updates or something super lame at the very top of the page.
Looks like release updates. There it is.
It's up, yeah, and that shows everything that's action, do, and then a lot of those things give you details and test criteria or direct you to the things you need to check. These are great.
Yeah, I agree. Once upon a time, it was like, here's the 1,000 pages of updates.
Yeah, you had to
Figuring out
just
what
guess if it was important. Yeah.
I love progress. Oh. The anyone using the optimizer on the regular basis? Yeah. One of the things about optimizer that I really wish that they would do would be like make it more of a checklist. So like, oh yeah, I did this thing, like, or I've decided I'm not doing this thing, like move along. Like did not do, like fine, like move along.
You want to remove something from the list because you're not going to do it anyway, even though they say you should.
Well, like maybe it says you have too many system admins. Fine. I know this. I have a staff, and this is what it is. Like, I understand the risk. I understand the thing, but I'm not reducing this to your recommended number. And it could be because the recommended number is X and my number is X plus 1. And it doesn't just kind of go away. And it's just like, well, thank you for your recommendation, but this is as good as it's gonna get. So that's like something that I really should talk to the people who own that product. But I like it.
Yeah.
I like Optimizer. I just don't get to use it as much as I used to.
I know that not everyone has the time to do this, but every release we built something called the Trailblazer app in our org that keeps track of like our cases and everything else. But we turn every feature into a record in this object, and we keep track of conversations and ideas for communication and like, should we implement, should we not, like kind of that there's that Excel file that is available on release readiness. We kind of turn that into something that we can log, because we also like to be able to look back and say like, hey, business units, like there's been 1,700 changes over the last year to improve your performance, and here's what we're implementing. But the reason I'm saying that is the other thing we do is with the optimizer, we turn those action items into features and log, kind of like you just said, like we decided that we don't care. And then every release, when we go back through the optimizer, we mark it again to say, we know, we don't care. And that way you don't have to remember, and you've got the history on it. So
Right. We know that we like right. So it's like there's the status, but what did I do with it?
right. Yep.
Is it like no longer an issue? Is it still an issue? Like did it
Yep. I missed out. I saw Prague posted something, but Mauricio also has his hand up. I wasn't sure who was there first. Does anybody know?
Rock, paper, scissors, ready? 1, 2.
Okay. The optimizer used to have the PDF file before, right? Why they removed that was a good stuff before, because we couldn't share with the business folks and talk about what we can improve in the org, right? Maybe I think they can return, and instead of PDF file, they could return for Excel file.
Yeah.
That's much better, right?
So
Yep.
when you click into one of these features, Dale, super demo driver, I would really love, right, for me to be able to like put some stuff into this record.
So do we know what objects these actually are? Because why couldn't you?
I don't know. Go click on the gear and edit object.
Yep.
Go to the gear. See? Oh, let's see what we can do. Go to, oh my gosh, fields and pages. Go to fields and, oh wait, no page layout. There's no page layout.
But there is new fields. And there is workbench.
Create a new field, Dale.
Org metric. New field.
Create a new field. Oh, see?
Okay, but
I'm proud of you.
is
Can you query from the workbench?
what the?
Right?
Oh, no, that's the thing that they're telling me to fix. Got it. This is weird because like this isn't any kind of a customized URL.
Huh? Like how do we get to the object, right?
I think the thing that would be a problem though is that every time you rerun the optimizer, it regenerates all the records. Like it doesn't save
Yes.
history. So anything you do would be gone the next time you run it,
Right.
Good point.
which is why we put ours in our own little feature model.
Actually, here, let's do this.
Interesting.
Org metric. Activity.
Talk
Activated.
about a rabbit hole. Holy cow.
What?
Talk about a rabbit hole.
So before I moved into consulting, this is what I did on Friday afternoons was just dive into these rabbit holes like this, just because I didn't want to do work, but I couldn't leave work. So yeah, I'm learning Salesforce. Leave me alone. Layoutable, false.
Layout. It's layout table, not layoutable.
No. It's layoutable from here on
That
out.
would be a layout table.
You're right. It's layoutable, but
Just like it's more gattable, right?
oh my god. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Salesforce specialness.
This is a special one, isn't it? It's like,
Mhm.
no, you all can't touch it. I don't know why they just didn't say object access, false. Like,
Right. Object access. Don't even think about it.
no, the answer is no.
Right.
Anyway,
Huh.
well, you could probably export and then import it into like Squire's custom object and then do what you want to do with it.
Right.
Um,
Well, but would it, I would wonder if it's at least leverageable in a flow so that you wouldn't have to export and re-import. Could you at least copy it?
I don't know. It would be nice if you could like have a button that said copy to my special object so I can do something with it or not. We're going to build things. Anyone have any other questions before we go really far past the rabbit hole on this one?
Just to circle back to Prague's post before he dropped off, Salesforce Easy. I didn't know this was a thing. Has anybody got a
I
chance with that?
just read that the other day, and I am curious to see what Salesforce Easy means.
Oh, the essential org. That's just, you don't need too much configuration. Just is ready to use.
So it's like the $25 a month version,
It's
whatever
like
that
Yes.
was.
the baby org,
Group edition, I think.
the baby org
Yeah.
with training wheels.
Yeah, it looks like a old group version, but of course with a better visual approach and some nice functionalities.
Like having a platform license.
It's supposed to be very easy to set up for small businesses or something.
Sounds like a niche space for consultants.
Self-configurable.
Yes.
Hey,
It
for
sounds to me like it's like having a platform license instead of a Salesforce license.
haven't reviewed that yet, but I saw that too, and I was like, easy. How easy? I don't know.
Is it like Staples button easy?
It started in 3 clicks. How hard can it be, right?
That's exactly what I thought of with Staples button easy.
So I don't know what exactly these two objects are and what they contain, but you can leverage them in a record triggered flow at
You can
least.
also leverage org delete requests in a record.
I don't know that I necessarily want to do that, but
Let's not touch that one. Oh my goodness. So in other randomness, I was talking with a couple folks about contacts to multiple accounts. How many of you have this enabled in your space? Couple, awesome.
or have had in the past, yes.
Right? We were talking about this custom object that sits above the account record. And we want to find a way to display all of those contacts on that upper object. Trying to figure out the best way to do that. And the answer that I got to me, Joy, you
Does
can't.
it have to be a custom object or can it just be an account, a parent account?
It already is a custom object.
Oh,
That's that's what I said too. I was like, why? Oh, okay.
change
How
that.
we can get all of those related contacts from the accounts up to that next level custom object. And the answer I got was a Lightning Web Component nonsense. I was like, but I can't build that yet. I don't know how to do that. So I'm waiting on a developer to do some stuff, to show me some stuff.
I would be like,
You use that
"Here's a
master
report
relation.
of all the related contacts for those accounts."
Here's a report chart on
Yeah.
that custom object.
And besides, how can you have a custom object, you say, when it's like on top of the account? Standard accounts can't be child accounts or anything like that. So what do you mean by up above it? It just,
The accounts relate to the, it's not okay.
Look up,
Yeah.
they look up to it.
Yeah, parent object. So, Joy, I'm sorry, Katie, finish your thought. I'm sorry.
oh, I just didn't think accounts or standard objects can be child in a, maybe that's just master detail, but a child.
Definitely can't be
of
master
relationship.
detail. They really shouldn't be a child, but I think they can be.
Sometimes it happens, right?
No.
Um,
with side quest. So I was like, what? No, but Katie, I really like that approach though, because I think that that might actually be a clickable solution for Joy.
A report?
Yeah, a report chart on the on the Lightning page.
There you go.
So
Make sure it's an Einstein report.
So you should be able to create a formula on the account relationship record that says this record. So a record in that table says, this is my contact, this is my account. So you should
And
be able to
this-
create a formula that says my account's parent record is this. That would give you the value. Similarly, you could have a flow populate a lookup field, and now you'd have a related list.
I got you. I got you. I hear what you're saying. I'm gonna have to poke around with that.
Because you can trigger a flow on creation or edit of those relationship records to do that work.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of hybridized ours to almost feel like a account team relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And so we do some work on there as well. So I would give that a shot. I mean, you're going to get better experience if you've got a developer to work on it. I think you're going to be better off with a Lightning component because you're basically generating automation just to get a related list. But if you had to do it declaratively, you could do it that way.
I would love to like give them the POC to say we can do this declaratively, but it's going to be so much better with an LWC, right?
It would be.
And reusable and less debt and less stuff and
Well, I don't know about less debt, but it definitely would be a better user experience.
yeah.
Okay, what's the value of this information that you're trying to bring in?
Yeah, so I questioned the requester really hard on this and it was ease of use and I about like exploded my head. So I was just poking around.
So are you using console apps? I mean, it requires a click or two, but at least it would give you sub tabs to be able to kind of pivot your context without having to create a whole bunch of technical debt to show this.
I like that solution too.
So I guess why can that not be presented as a solution?
No, it's not that it can't be. It's just that I am anticipating pushback because the request is what it is and change is hard, especially when you're going from something else to something that you think is completely customizable. Lift and shift is a bad word.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I get caught up and I appreciate y'all like redirecting me and being like, Joy, just say no. Just say no. It's the war on garbage. Look at it. Garbage, drugs, whatever. It's all good.
So we got Brandon and Bobby. Bobby just commented that data table is going to be coming in winter 23, which I think is also pretty cool. I don't know if there's anything more to say other than read the release notes and learn how it's going to help you save everybody's day, but that's pretty cool.
Is that data table that's like on unofficial Salesforce you can add or whatever that I'm thinking of, or is it something different?
I believe it's that one, yes.
Awesome.
I think I
Really?
was also just mentioning from the perspective of instead of building a Lightning component, you create a flow and you drop the flow on your parent object screen, and that flow screen is looking up your child accounts to contacts, multiple relationships, and you're showing that data table on the screen in a record page.
Now, of course, the downside to that is that a screen flow that's running every time you run a
For
page
sure.
actually is heavier than the Lightning component, but it's easier to do for as an admin.
For sure.
Excuse me. And then Brandon had something boring about Zoom. So
Well, it's just their integration and documentation is horrible. And Kelly just said, don't let Zoom update your data. And I was going to say, so
Now,
I'd love to know more.
Zoom info or Zoom?
No,
Because
Zoom, the Zoom web conferencing. Zoom info, I have separate fields for that we write to because I don't want it to touch my data.
I had that argument with someone very high up in an organization. And they said, no, they are the data standard. And I was like, you have been sold some
Industries alone is a nightmare, you know, and revenue and yeah, anyways. But so has anybody, so so I'll give you the use case. We have Chili Piper right now. I want to put a bullet in Chili Piper and use, I know you're probably gonna cringe when I say this, but we have Inbox, to use Inbox for the availability and have it create a Zoom meeting and stuff. The problem is it seems like the Zoom meeting ends up almost like the emails do. So they're events, but they're not events. You can't get to them or edit them. Like, I just feel like it's like you're killing me, Salesforce. So then we installed the integration, or we have the integration, but I put these, schedule Zoom meeting, which is great. It sends all those, the meeting invites out, and everybody accepts them, and it never shows up on our Google calendars as the individual person. And I think it's because you've got to set up this goofy API project. So anyways, that's kind of the thing I'm in, and I kind of need it to work because we're putting a bullet in Gong, and everybody's like, oh, I need my things to work. So I know I said it's a boring thing. It is boring because it's like streets and sewers, but yeah.
Not
Thoughts?
It's not boring. It's just kind of complex.
Yeah, it's not easy. I mean, these calls aren't for the easy ones, right?
I don't know if I've heard of many people doing a Zoom integration like that. Is that a popular integration? Are people doing that more now?
Well, and is it, if I heard you right, the integration is more from a messaging and notification standpoint. It's not like you're trying to conduct a Zoom meeting from within Salesforce, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
And so you're absolutely correct, because the Zoom meeting is created, the links are created, Salesforce has it recorded. The person sent it from Google, the calendar invite goes out. It's just not showing up on people's calendars. Like, it's just like, I feel like it's just not wired up right, if that makes sense. So
yeah, I mean, I would be shocked if this documentation was out anywhere, but it's like you need to roll up your sleeves and actually map out where are the gears in this process to know what's handing off to what. And it's like there's probably a little bit of an order of execution across multiple systems as well, because shooting from the hip, it sounds like you need Salesforce, you need Zoom, and you need G Suite, right?
Yep.
You need to understand the interoperability of those three, I think, to nail down how you're going to get it to work. And I don't know how much out of the box of any of those three systems you'll be able to leverage. It's like you're going to need your Salesforce and G Suite connector to really be humming. You're going to need Zoom and G Suite to really be humming, which we had when I was at 7 Summits, and I would call it high 90th percentile reliability, but definitely not perfect. And then Zoom and Salesforce need to really be humming.
Yeah.
It can be done. It's just going to take some really specialized skill sets to make it work the way you want it, I think.
Yep. Appreciate that. Totally get it. I mean, I kind of knew that was the answer. So I always appreciate the confirmation. Has anybody had a success terminating Gong, and then what do you do with the recordings or anything like that? And it just quick answer if you have or haven't. That's all.
I mean, like with any cloud-based application, they should give you X number of days to return retrieve your data, including recordings. Like, I mean, those are your assets. It should be in your.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably just going to keep a license and then just have access to it.
Gotcha.
But
so my former company, did exactly that. We stopped using Gong, and as Dale said, they do give you a certain amount of time, but it's not a whole lot, as I recall, that you can go ahead and download everything, but it's a pretty arduous task, as I recall also. And I do some contract work for them, so I still have their email, and 6 months later, we're still getting Gong notifications.
Yeah, that's what I feel like, because we're going to basically use Conversation Insights as a cutover Because it's, I mean, our reps are just looking at the recordings and that's it. They're not even really doing coaching, so. But yeah,
So I guess the question I have about how long you need to retain those recordings, right? Like if you want to have access to them for a year or forever, are things you need to consider. Or, you know, you don't want to keep the conversation.
I don't think we need them. We got stuff to like 2017 in there or something. I'm just like, come on, nobody's going back and looking at that. But what if, you know, we have data orders.
You move on. It's like you had, it's like someone like erased your, you know, your mixtape, like you move on.
Yeah. That's good. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, and are you using anything like Box or Dropbox or anything for cloud storage, or is it all like on-prem or?
No, I mean, it's all cloud-based. So, I mean, we could dump all the files over and stuff like that.
Well, because like what I wonder is, do Box or any of those providers have like a one-time service that will just go get them for you and move them into like the Box environment or whatever, so that you don't have to go through download, save, as well as the cost of keeping an active license with Gong?
Oh, I'm sure there's something out there.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I mean, it's our people that are just like, I just love Gong. I'm like, okay, well, whatever.
What do they get instead?
Well, we're going to just record the calls in Zoom, and then Conversation Insights in Salesforce will be the conduit for seeing those. So
That would be a very interesting integration use case.
Like moving it over, or what do you mean?
Well, for Conversation Insights, if it's able to peel into the recordings.
Oh, it does already.
Okay.
Yeah. So we've got several people that already have the Zoom Conversation Insights set up. And so they're coming in, we got the transcripts coming in and everything. And so it's just the people that haven't had that turned on, that we just got to get them going. So like moving forward, we're going to be great. It's just, you know, the people are like, I need to look at that thing from a year ago. I'm like, you really don't. And even though they say they look at all their calls, I went and looked, and like most people are looking at maybe 7 or 8 recordings in the last 30 days, if that. So, but you know, once you say you're going to take something away, that everybody's like finds reasons to keep it. So,
yep.
But
And
thank you,
usually
appreciate it.
Because, right?
Yep. You never know.
Yep. You never do know.
Because it's great.
Yep.
We're at 4 till, and besides Squire's question about email sync and contact sync,
I haven't seen
we
any.
don't have any other questions in the queue. Anybody have any thoughts on that real quick? Besides Daniel's electronic signature?
Tell you, I really need a nap today.
What are you syncing them to? Or are you talking like the individual emails when you send them, they come back, or?
No, so you know, we're using what it was Salesforce or Outlook, and now is it just Salesforce email or whatever that allows you to go from Outlook and push your emails to the platform. And it's not a great user experience, and it doesn't do contact. You have to do Lightning Sync to get contact, which is also not a great tool. And when we ask the questions, Salesforce's response is always NDA, which has its own challenges, although I've heard that some of those challenges might be going away in the next couple of months. But the end of the day is we don't even know, like for example, backup and restore, we're using Salesforce's backup and restore, but we know that own backup is like kind of the gold standard. We're not really sure who the email sync and contact sync gold standard is to compare and say, we're not paying for that when we can go over there and do that. So I'm just curious if anybody's got tooling that they're using.
So you're thinking maybe something like Cirrus Insight?
Maybe. I've heard Groove.
Cirrus Insight is a pretty cool product.
Okay.
Yeah.
I bet if you asked Salesforce what the gold standard is, they'd say, "Why are you doing email? Go to Slack. We own that now, right?"
Yep.
Reading
Or
stuff.
NBA, right? So.
Yeah.
Or NDA, yeah.
Well, and so like we use, and maybe I'm thinking of this wrong, but like to send our emails, we're using this Cloud HQ to like basically send the BCC route. to Salesforce, but I'm sure you could route them anywhere else. Is that kind of what you're thinking about, or am I thinking of something?
So the best way to explain it is our business model or business units, and we have like a dozen of them on the platform. They're Outlook centric from email. They don't want to send emails directly from Salesforce.
Got it.
So what we need to be able to do is when they're looking at Outlook, be able to say, this one goes on this contact or this one goes on this opportunity. And you can do that with the standard Salesforce or Outlook connector, which is going to be sunset. Well, they've moved the date multiple times, but it's going to be sunset. And Lightning for Outlook or whatever the new one is works, but it's not great, and it doesn't have the context syncing built in like the original one did. Our context syncing is we want Salesforce to be the system of record, but every user needs the system of record in their Outlook so they can use their phone and their mobile devices and their Outlook to do that. So we're dealing with both of those challenges. And I just know there's lots of tools that do that. I just don't know which one's the one to waste time with. So Cirrus Insight, I've heard Groove is a great tool. I've also heard
You like Groove as in like the oh my gosh, the call. What am I thinking of? You know what I mean? Like it's like a high velocity competitor.
They have some tooling. Yeah, I think that's the same company.
I thought we used Groove at a previous company. I liked it.
Okay.
It wrote everything as a task or event the way it should.
Yep.
It's just our reps didn't use it the way they should.
That's
So, but yeah, no, I mean, it's Force native, right? So you can single sign on. Definitely worth checking out.
Okay. I will.
I don't know enough about their Outlook integration and how it ties, but yeah, I mean, it's the high velocity competitor stuff of it was great. So,
all right. I will definitely check out Cirrus Insight. So
our company doesn't send emails from Salesforce. We have it separate, and we're looking into Cirrus for exactly that reason. Right now, I'm talking to them.
Awesome.
I've seen Cirrus Insight in action a couple of times, and definitely better than the Salesforce out of the box stuff, Lightning for Outlook or whatever you call it.
Yeah. I mean, and I mean, I need to book the time at Dreamforce in a couple of weeks to literally have someone sell me for once. I don't like to be sold, but this time I have to be like, why would I buy your product? So cool. All right. Thank you all. I have to drop for a 2 o'clock hard stop. If there's anything else the rest of the team wants to keep doing, I'll let you go.
Yep, I gotta drop too. Thank you, everybody. Love you. We appreciate you, and we will see you in 2 weeks on the 9th.
Later, all.
Phil.
See you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.